longer couples are together, whether they're in a traditional marriage or a long-term relationship, the more challenges they're likely to face. Makes sense. Our next guest, Karen SKERRETT, is a psychologist, and she also wrote the book called Growing Married, Creating Stories for a Lifetime of Love. Now, this offers couples practical advice on how to keep relationships flourishing despite inevitable adversities. I think anybody that's in a relationship, Karen, needs to know more about this. She's joining us from Chicago. Tell us more. Why did you decide to want to go into this? Why marriage? Why relationships?
I have been in a privileged position for over the last 4 decades of listening to people's stories,
Okay.
first as a nurse and then as a psychologist. And one of the things that colleagues and I have been doing for the last 10 years now is to study couple stories much more systematically. And what we've learned has been so powerful and so inspirational and really holds out a beacon of hope for all couples at whatever point you are in the life cycle,
Uh-huh.
that I wanted to share them. I really want to spread the word that relationships, whether married or not, are really worth having if they center around growth and around learning how to build a climate that's bigger than yourself.
Yeah. You know, you figure you put two people probably raised completely different in most situations. You put them together, and then you hear about them being together for 50 years and happy all the way till death. And it can happen. But storytelling, you say, is very important. Why so? And whom actually should they share their stories with?
Well, we are hardwired to be storytellers.
Yeah.
We all are telling stories all the time. And the stories that we tell actually shape our lives. They're our way of making sense, navigating this complicated life that we're all living. They also help us set the level of love in our lives. Stories are connectors, they're human connectors. And the pandemic that we're all experiencing, I think, has taught us that social isolation and loneliness are literally killers.
Right.
So everyone needs stories, loves stories, and I hear from my clients all the time, golly, I wish I knew more about my parents and my grandparents, not just, you look like Uncle Sam and you got, you cook like your Aunt Tilly, but that you tell them how you got through challenges that you faced at various points.
Yeah.
That's what gives, I think, kids of any age a sense of belonging.
Well, you think about it, a good story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And as simple as that is, if you look at the Bible, I mean, that's how they taught, is these parables. And we try to find ourselves within those stories. And we could say, well, if that person succeeded by that, I'm assuming, and tell me if I'm going off on the wrong path, let me know. But and then we can look at that and go, well, all right, I can see an example of it. And I guess that's what storytelling does in a relationship.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right.
Does.
All right. Now, how do we have an understanding of adult development as we grow older? How does that actually help our relationships? And tell me about this we attitude.
Sure. I think a knowledge of adulthood is one of the least appreciated aspects of relationships. Helping people take the long view, the 360 overview, is critical because it helps us put our problems and challenges in context.
Right.
We've got lots of good science now. For example, we've got huge data sets that say when people hit their late 40s, there's a dip in their happiness. And the good news is they move out of that and go on to experience a good 20 years of really strong emotional mental health.
And it makes a lot of sense.
And that when people hit, say, the 50-mile marker, they begin to think about and realize that they have less time left to live than time since birth.
Yep.
And so knowing that about yourself, your partner, is an important way to factor in kind of a growth trajectory.
And Karen, I want folks
Yeah.
to get more information about this. Quickly tell me this, where can they get a copy of this book to get this information?
My book is now available on Amazon and all major booksellers.
I love this, Karen SKERRETT. Very important stuff. We'll have this interview on our website. Thank you so much for joining us.